Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive.
Great to be here.
So we're always hearing predictions about the future, right? Especially with tech like AI.
Oh, constantly. It's unavoidable.
But how often do they actually, hit the mark? I mean, think back to the 60s.
Right, yeah. Mass unemployment was supposed to be just around the corner.
And flying cars, we were all waiting for the Jetsons lifestyle.
Definitely. And, well, we got neither of those, did we?
Not even close. So today we're tackling this really profound question. How do we navigate this huge wave of AI? How do we make sure the future we end up with is like the one we actually want?
And crucially, we're not just focusing on the doom and gloom.
Exactly. This is about adopting a what could possibly go right mindset. We want to explore how we can actively, steer AI.
To maybe enhance our human agency, distribute knowledge more widely.
Yes, and foster real progress for you, the listener.
Sounds like a plan.
And to help us, we've been looking at some really fascinating insights, mostly drawing from the book Super Agency: What Could Possibly Go Right with Our AI Future?
Yeah, it's an interesting take. Definitely challenges some common assumptions, offers a kind of compass for navigating AI.
A techno-humanist compass, they call it. Let's dive in.
Okay, so first off, the future. It's just really hard to predict and even harder to stop.
Right. The book argues that trying to just halt tech progress with bans, well, it just doesn't tend to work out historically.
It really doesn't.
Which seems a bit weird, doesn't it? If there are obvious dangers, why can't we just stop?
Well, it seems to boil down to, basic human nature. We collaborate, sure, but we also compete fiercely sometimes.
Oh, okay.
So getting everyone on the planet to agree to ban or contain something powerful, it's incredibly complex. The source has this great quote.
Oh, yeah.
It compares it to herding cats. If cats were armed, tribal, and had different languages, different gods, and dreams for the future. You get the idea.
Wow. Yeah. That paints a picture. So just saying no is basically a losing game.
Pretty much. Especially because, as the book notes, there are always other actors out there with very different ideas about the future they want.
Okay, so if banning isn't the way, what's this techno-humanist compass idea about? How does that help if new tech has its own sort of momentum?
That's the key word, momentum, or gravity, as the book puts it, like the steam engine, right? Once it was out there, it changed everything.
It wasn't just a machine.
Exactly. It massively augmented human labor, led to incredible scale, abundance, but also new ways for people to live, new freedoms, social progress over time.
So the compass isn't a map with a destination mark X.
No, it's more about guiding our choices as we go, helping us reorient, asking, how do we nudge this powerful force towards, human flourishing rather than letting it just pull us wherever?
Gotcha. Now, we should mention perspective here. The author of Super Agency is deeply embedded in the tech world.
That's right. Founding board member at PayPal, co-founded LinkedIn.
Early investor and board member at OpenAI, co-founded Inflection AI too. It's quite the resume.
It is. And some might say, well, doesn't that create an incentive to, hype the upsides and maybe downplay the risks?
That's the potential criticism, yeah.
But the argument in the book is actually the opposite. That being deeply involved makes you more committed to getting it right, to ensuring the benefits are broad, precisely because you see the potential and want it to succeed for everyone. You're more alert to the dangers because you want to avoid them.
Interesting flip on that. Okay, let's jump forward a bit. December 2022, ChatGPT. The book calls it a quiet thunderclap.
It really was. And the timing was strange, wasn't it? Tech was in a downturn.
Huge layoffs at Meta, Amazon, the whole FTX collapse was happening. The narrative about big tech's unstoppable power was, well, shaky.
Definitely shaky. And then OpenAI, this relatively small research lab, like 375 people.
Just drops this thing. No big announcement, no hype machine.
Just a tweet, basically. Try talking with ChatGPT. Sam Altman's tweet was super low-key, too.
And it was just different. We all remember those old chatbots, right?
Oh, God, yes. The book nails it, talking to someone at the bottom of a swimming pool on Mars.
Exactly. But ChatGPT, it was smart, versatile, surprisingly human-like.
Yeah.
Even when it messed up, its hallucinations were kind of fascinating.
Totally. And the growth was just explosive. 1 million users in 5 days.
100 million in 2 months. With zero marketing budget. That's insane.
It sent shockwaves. Google went code red. Meta spun up AI groups. The race was suddenly on.
But alongside that massive excitement, those old dystopian fears came roaring back. The book talks about the gloomers.
Right. And Orwell's 1984 looms large, even though it was written when computers were incredibly rare. That vision of God-level
It
techno-surveillance.
still resonates. And it wasn't just Orwell. There was Vance Packard in the 60s.
The Naked Society, yeah. Warning about giant memory machines, recording everything, creating this computerized man trapped by chains of plastic tape.
And more recently, critics like Shoshana Zuboff talking about Big Other and these extraction operations where our data is just taken.
Leaving us like abandoned carcasses. It's pretty stark language.
It is. But here's the counterpoint the book makes. Think about those mid-century fears. Were we actually trapped by data centers?
Well, no. In fact, technologies that came later, VCRs, Walkmans, remote controls, camcorders, they actually gave people more control, didn't they?
Yeah, more personalized ways to experience things, more agency.
So it makes you ask, do you listening feel like you have fewer options today to express yourself, pursue your values, live your own life compared to decades ago?
It's a good question.
The historical pattern seems to be that information, when it's shared and used creatively, can be incredibly empowering. Not chains, but maybe climbing ropes.
Climbing ropes. I like that metaphor. Okay, building on that idea of shared information and empowerment, let's talk about the private commons.
Yeah, this is a really neat concept. Think about platforms like Google Maps or Yelp or Wikipedia.
Privately owned, right. But they function almost like public services.
Exactly, free or nearly free services, where we, the users, are actually the ones creating and curating the value, the information.
And unlike, say, a real-world pasture that gets overgrazed, the tragedy of the commons.
Right, these digital commons are different, they're non-rivalrous.
Yeah.
More use actually tends to make them better, not worse.
Which connects directly to something like LinkedIn, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. The book mentions that OpenAI's initial vision, AI, as an extension of individual human wills, kind of echoed what LinkedIn aimed for.
How so?
Well, remember the early internet? Total anonymity. Nobody knows you're a dog.
Right.
LinkedIn went the other way. It was built around real professional identities. You put your name, your job, your skills out there.
Which must have seemed risky at first. Your boss seeing your profile, competitors.
There was definitely resistance. But it worked. It scaled trust. Suddenly you could connect with people, find opportunities based on real credentials. The stat is amazing. 7 people hired every minute via LinkedIn.
Wow, okay, so this really pushes back against that extraction narrative.
Yeah, the book argues it's less like mining or extraction and more like data agriculture.
Data agriculture, meaning
Meaning it's resourceful, regenerative. Taking data, repurposing it, synthesizing it in new ways creates this whole ecosystem where developers, platforms, users, creators all benefit. It's mutualistic.
and we as users often get huge value out of free services, right? The consumer surplus.
Absolutely huge. Studies suggest Facebook users, for example, value it at something like $48 a month, way more than the ad revenue they generate for Meta.
Or look at Wikipedia. It's free.
Yeah.
And arguably better, definitely bigger and more accessible than the old expensive encyclopedias ever were.
Totally. Or think about digital photos. We went from paying for maybe 80 billion photos in 2000 to taking 1.6 trillion free ones in 2015.
Which enabled totally new uses, like snapping a photo of where you parked your car.
Exactly. And YouTube. It used to be seen as just, cat videos and fluff.
Short attention span theater.
Right. Now it's this incredible applied knowledge Wikipedia, visually driven. People learn coding, fix appliances, get career advice. It's massive for upskilling.
Okay, let's shift gears to an area where the potential impact of AI feels incredibly urgent. Mental health.
Yeah, this is a big one. The book talks about the existential threat of the status quo here.
Meaning the current system just isn't working well enough.
Not nearly well enough. The scale of mental health disorders is enormous globally, but access to care, severely limited.
You see the stats, millions in the U.S. alone living in areas with shortages of professionals. Wait times are months long.
And even the apps that exist often have trouble keeping people engaged. AI offers a real possibility to dramatically scale up access to evidence-based support.
But this is also where fears about AI can get really intense, right? Like that Coco app example.
Yes, Coco, peer support messaging service. They briefly used GPT-3 to help draft replies, which users could then edit or use.
And the initial result was positive.
Very positive. Users rated the AI-assisted messages significantly higher than the human-only ones. More helpful.
But then the backlash came.
Oh, big time. A viral thread online, huge outrage. People claiming Coco was deceptive, that simulated empathy feels weird, empty.
Which the book calls a classic case of problemism.
Exactly. Focusing entirely on potential, even speculative, downsides the landmines, and completely missing the actual positive results, the green shoots.
Because Coco wasn't secretly replacing humans, was it?
Not at all. It was a co-pilot. Users chose to use the AI assist, and it was disclosed. The outrage was fueled by, as the book says, purely speculative harms inflicted on imaginary users.
So the point isn't that LLMs will replace therapists.
Definitely not. But they can open up new options, offer support when a human isn't available, help practitioners be more efficient, make care just more abundant and affordable overall.
There was even that JAMA study.
Right. April 2023. Licensed doctors rated ChatGPT's medical advice higher than advice from other human doctors in nearly 80% of cases. And that AI was often rated higher on empathy, too.
Performatively kind, perhaps, but still perceived as kind.
Which might even help us be kinder. It's an interesting thought.
It is. Now, related to this fear is the media narrative, the AI arms race. Like, these companies are just recklessly building digital nukes.
Yeah, that narrative is everywhere. But the book argues it completely misrepresents the actual process.
How so? What's development really like?
It's less like an arms race and more like an Ironman triathlon. It involves incredibly rigorous, detailed, almost eye-glazingly comprehensive testing.
Okay, testing against what?
Standardized benchmarks. Things like super GLUE for language skills, real toxicity prompts for harmful content, stereo set for biases. These are often developed by academics, third parties.
So it creates transparency.
Accountability.
Exactly. It becomes this kind of communal Olympics where different models are constantly being tested and improved against common standards. OpenAI's Instruct GPT, for instance, was way better, more truthful, less toxic than the earlier GPT-3 because of this kind of focused training and testing.
And even when models get really good at the existing tests, researchers just invent harder ones. The book mentions Microsoft challenging GPT-4 to draw a unicorn using complex TIC-Z code. They're always pushing the boundaries.
Of course, models still make mistakes, right? Dumb errors.
Oh, absolutely. Mistaking a toaster for a zebra, things like that. And there are valid concerns about data contamination influencing benchmarks. But, humans make dumb errors too. AI can actually help us improve our capabilities.
So how can people listening, how can you get a sense of this evaluation process?
Well, there's this cool platform called Chatbot Arena. It's open source.
What does it do?
You basically type in a prompt, and it sends it to 2 different LLMs anonymously. You see both answers side by side, and you vote for which one you think is better.
Ah, like a blind taste test for AIs.
Pretty much. And it aggregates all that data across hundreds of models. So users learn from everyone else's experience, and developers get real-time feedback on how their models are actually performing in the wild.
The book calls this a step towards Regulation 2.0.
Yeah, where users, through their collective choices and judgments, actually help shape how AI develops. It builds trust through that transparency.
That idea of user-driven shaping connects to another concept, permissionless innovation.
Right. This is the idea that allowing experimentation, trial and error, without needing prior regulatory approval, actually leads to safer products faster.
Because you get feedback loops going much quicker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You learn from real-world use, identify problems, fix them, iterate. It contrasts with the precautionary principle, better safe than sorry.
Which sounds sensible, but can sometimes backfire.
It can. It's useful sometimes, maybe with GMOs, but it can also just stifle useful innovation based on purely theoretical risks, like San Francisco banning delivery robots.
So permissionless innovation is about learning by doing, essentially.
Yes, focusing on generating that real-world data and adapting quickly, which ultimately builds more robust and trustworthy systems.
The book uses the analogy of the car. Early cars were incredibly dangerous.
Unbelievably so. More Americans died in car crashes right after WWI than in the war itself in France.
Wow. So if regulators back then had just said, okay, nothing over 25 miles per hour based on the precautionary principle.
Society would probably look very different today. Slower, smaller, more provincial, as the book puts it.
Instead, we got iterative regulation, speed limits, traffic lights, licenses.
Right. Rules evolved alongside the technology, making it safer and more accessible over time. And that allowed automobility to scale, which massively amplified your freedom to move, travel, work, connect. Huge societal benefit.
This iterative idea also links to something called code is law. What's that about?
It's a concept from Lawrence Lessig back in '99. He argued the actual architecture of the internet. The code regulates our behavior just as much as laws or social norms do.
And now code isn't just online, it's in.
Yeah.
Everything. Cars, phones, appliances.
Exactly. Physical and virtual worlds are merging, and this enables what the book terms perfect control.
Perfect control. That sounds ominous.
It can be. The book gives a hypothetical. Imagine a future car with a mandated alcohol detection system, DEA ESS. It has an AI interface, Navatar.
Yeah.
If your blood alcohol is too high, Navatar just won't let you drive. Maybe it suggests an Uber. Maybe it plays you a movie until you sober up. The choice is removed by the architecture.
So safety is enforced, but autonomy is reduced.
That's the tension. Same with smart contracts code that automatically enforces agreements. It can reduce bias, sure, but what about nuance, judgment, flexibility? Could making a good choice become impossible if the code only allows one path?
Tricky questions. So given all this complexity, this potential, what's the big positive vision for AI in our daily lives?
The book lands on this really powerful analogy, LLMs as your informational GPS.
Like the GPS in our phones. How does that connect?
Well, remember GPS started as military tech, but President Reagan made it available for civilian use after that tragic Soviet shootdown incident, recognizing its humanitarian potential.
Despite national security worries back then.
Right, and it became this incredible global public utility, transformed navigation, logistics, added trillions to the economy.
So GPS mapped the physical world.
And LLMs, the book argues, are like these incredibly flexible, extensible maps for the informational world, the complex landscapes of knowledge and data that you navigate every single day.
How do they help us navigate?
They accelerate fluency. They help you gain situational fluency really quickly in all sorts of different cognitive territories, whether that's understanding, I don't know, Q learning in AI or evaluating a contract written in another language.
And this helps level the playing field.
Massively. The book points out it especially benefits less experienced workers, helping them upskill fast. It democratizes access to expertise that used to be locked up inside specific human heads, lawyers, doctors, therapists.
And with the multimodal stuff, like
Right.
GPT-4o handling text, audio, video.
It gets even more personal. Your phone becomes a true conversational partner. It can analyze your golf swing through the camera, give you fashion tips based on what it sees, understand context in real time.
A genuine extension of yourself.
Exactly. And the key is giving it good coordinates.
Yeah.
The more specific you are, your background, your goal, how you like to learn, even asking it to explain something complex like it would to a 6-year-old who loves fire engines.
The better it can tap into its vast latent expertise for you.
Precisely.
This isn't just about individuals, though. The book also talks about AI transforming government.
Yeah, moving beyond just surveillance fears towards government 2.0.
Which means
Using AI as a platform for civic action. Listening instead of eavesdropping, as the book puts it.
are there examples of this?
Sure. Taiwan used a platform called Polis to find consensus on tricky issues like Uber regulation, involving thousands of citizens directly. Imagine if your government could use AI to genuinely gather public input on laws.
Leading to policies that actually reflect what people want, reducing polarization.
That's the hope. South Korea's already planning a huge AI portal to consolidate public services. It's about using AI to amplify citizen voices, to renew that promise of government of the people, by the people, for the people.
So wrapping up our deep dive today.
Yeah.
We've really journeyed through this tension, haven't we? Between the fear around AI and the opportunity.
Definitely. And we've seen this pattern throughout history, a proactive mindset, that what could possibly go right approach combined with smart, iterative innovation and regulation. It tends to expand human agency.
From the printing press spreading knowledge, to cars giving us freedom of movement, to GPS mapping our world.
And AI, especially these powerful multimodal LLMs, looks poised to be that next layer, your informational GPS.
An intelligent interface helping you navigate knowledge, boost productivity, get personalized help across pretty much everything.
Offering potential superpowers, really.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you to ponder. As AI weaves itself deeper into our lives, giving us these amazing new capabilities, but also demanding new ways of interacting with it.
Yeah.
What new definitions of freedom, of purpose, of collective well-being will you want to unlock? And maybe more importantly, how will you actively participate in shaping that future, rather than just letting it happen to you?